Good morning, STrEAM Academy. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is Wednesday, February 3rd, my son's birthday. And welcome to Morning Coffee. Warren, wherever you are out there, either working on the slope or out playing on snow machines and having fun young man adventures, happy birthday. Welcome, everybody. Good morning, Mrs. Beyondich. How are you doing today?
Good morning, Principal Mokelke. I am super excited to be here. We have students joining us, and I love that.
We do. We have students coming to Morning Coffee this morning, which is super exciting. And they're here to present and to share with us today, which is pretty cool. Anchorage STREAM Academy empowers students to be involved learners, critical thinkers, and engaged citizens who are inspired by the natural world. That's our mission. I was in a strategic plan session on Saturday for a board that I sit on for an organization called PHH, which serves at-risk youth with therapeutic foster homes. And the Forker Group presenter said most people don't know their mission, and he challenges any organization he works with if you could recite your organization's mission. And he said, very rarely can anyone do that. And I can't recite the mission of PHH, but I just kind of smiled to myself. I can recite the mission of STREAM Academy from heart. And I think probably a lot of you can as well. So it's a good mission. Our agenda today, what do we have on the agenda today, Mrs. Beyondich?
Oh, we have a lot of things on our agenda today. We're going to update you on important items and events. But the really exciting thing for me is we get to hear from our Youth Leadership Lab participants who are joining us today. Then we have a quick update from our 501c3, letting you know what's going on for Q4 when we'll be back face-to-face, and have an update from our 6th grade amazing team, Kotelman and Gable. Ms. Bonertz is going to weigh in with some information on an upcoming survey, and then we have questions and launch.
That sounds like a pretty good agenda. It sounds like a packed agenda. We better keep things moving today. So some upcoming dates to remember today. We have our cohort presentation, as Mrs. Beyondich mentioned. Next week is a bit busy week and an important week. We have our APC meeting on Wednesday night next week at 5:30 p.m. Next week, we'll have our cohort presentation from 7th grade team, Mr. Holsopple and Mr. B. And Mr. Holsopple will also work in some of the presentation that he gave on the COVID vaccination. He has a depth of knowledge on the COVID vaccination that he can share. The following Wednesday is also one that I'm really excited about. We have Dr. Holly Geist coming back to Morning Coffee. Dr. Geist came on earlier in this school year and had some really great information when we were talking about the history of World War II in Alaska and impact on Alaska Native people. She's a PhD scholar on Alaska Native people, culture, history, and Alaska Native Inupiaq herself. She is also an expert on Elizabeth Peratrovich and Bradovich. It's hard to say that name right, and it drives me crazy when I get it wrong. Peratrovich, sorry. She is an expert and a scholar. She's written a chapter in the book called Suffrage at 100. And Elizabeth Peratrovich Day in Alaska is the 16th. So for Morning Coffee on the 17th, Dr. Geist will be here to talk about Elizabeth Peratrovich, and that's really exciting. The following Wednesday, we have an outdoor ed focus. We have Aaron Kirkland from Anchorage Parks coming on, and we'll talk about outdoor opportunities and adventures that are out there for our students and our families. I want to take a moment today just to check in quickly about second semester and specifically fourth quarter. I know some news came out across the district about fourth quarter and what that's going to look like. And of course, the Anchorage School District as a whole is planning a return to in-person learning for secondary education fourth quarter. That's following spring break. So our tentative plan for that is going to be brought to the APC. And so if you're interested in weighing in on that, talk to Mrs. Bionich to get on People to be Heard and testify, or just watch the APC meeting, because I will bring that proposal to our APC next Wednesday night. What I'll ask them to approve is that when we come back on March 15th, that first week is a transitional week for our staff and our students to get comfortable and to get prepared for coming back to in-person learning for the first time in a full year. And so I'll ask that our staff teach their classes virtually the week of March 15th, the first week of the quarter, and that we don't return in person into the following weeks. We've got that buffer to start classes. Our teachers, I'm sure, will spend a lot of time talking about what it's going to be like when you're in the building with us next week and our processes and procedures. And then we return in person for those that are ready, the students that are ready, on March 22nd. I'll also, in my proposal to our APC, ask, really it's to reiterate that Wednesdays remain virtual days for the rest of the year. Our APC actually voted on that and approved that in our last plan that I proposed. So I want to reinforce that, because that may not be what ASD does. We don't know yet, but we think it's extremely important to keep Wednesday as a buffer day in the middle of the week, to keep it virtual. Our teachers have so much planning and work to do with teaching, continuing to provide lessons asynchronous for those students that stay home, also teaching students in person, as well as project-based learning and all of their collaboration they do. So that's a quick update. I don't want to spend a whole ton of time on that because we've got a packed agenda. I can come back around to those things at the end. The last thing I do want to make sure I note is, as we've promised all along, our families can remain virtual when we come back face-to-face, if you're not comfortable with in-person learning. We will provide classes, curriculum, and instruction for our students, and we'll take care of you through the rest of the year. The really important thing to note is, on that survey ASD has sent out to the entire district, it may be a little misleading because we're a charter, we do things differently. Don't select virtual if you want to stay virtual. And I'm sorry this is confusing, because it's for the whole district. If you would like to remain virtual, you select other, and you put STrEAM Academy or STrEAM or Call Me in that line. Because if you select virtual, that indicates ASD virtual, this district-wide virtual curriculum and program. And what my experience has been is that that's not what our families want. They want virtual through STrEAM, the way we're doing it as a charter, not the district-wide non-STrEAM teacher courses. If you actually want that, that's fine. And you still get to stay enrolled with STrEAM. You just take the district-wide classes. But if you want to stay virtual with STrEAM Academy and have lessons continue from STrEAM teachers and support from us, you select other on that survey. And I know it's confusing, but we'll get through it together. Everyone who selects virtual or other will get a call from me anyway, and I'll confirm that's what you want to do and work that out with you. So you're not going to break anything. All right, I am going to turn it over to Miss Gatlin. Good morning, Miss Gatlin. Welcome. Miss Gatlin and Miss Bonerts have been coordinating the Youth Leadership Lab team, and they're here to present to us today. Go ahead, Miss Gatlin.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. Good morning. Miss Bonerts and I this year have taken on a Youth Leadership Lab team. And so I have the list of who is on our team. This team is made up of students who are nominated by their teachers as being leaders in their learning communities, and then they interviewed for the project as well. So the team that we have created here is just a stand-up, great team. And so the team is Stevie Bonner, Zach Harris, Sanaya Reynolds, Soraya Burkhart, Sawyer Kopp, Iris Harsad Bell, Adalia Mutini, and Katahdin Staples. I just wanted to put all their names out there so I can recognize all of them. So I'm going to let the kids talk a little bit more about what we're doing. But in general, our main goal is to create a school improvement project this year. So I know we have 2 representatives from our team here today. We have Zach Harris, who is an 8th grader at STrEAM, and we have Iris Harstead Bell. And I'm going to turn it over, if they are comfortable, to talk about what we've been doing. So Zach or Iris, please feel free to unmute yourself and tell a little bit about the process and what we've been doing in our Youth Leadership Lab.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Gatlin. What we've been doing in our Youth Leadership Lab is, so far we have analyzed the data from last year's school climate survey, and this week we will hopefully be getting the results back from the test that we took with Yale. So we will be analyzing that this week, and then we will start getting into the project itself and trying to think of ways as students that we can help improve our school's climate and help make it an even better place for our oncoming 6th graders. STrEAM, don't get me wrong, is already an amazing school, and I loved this school, and I am going to miss it so very much. But I hope that I can help make it better in as many ways as I can, so I can go out with a positive impact with STrEAM. Iris, you can talk now.
Thank you, Zach. Iris, would you like to add anything?
Another thing is that each time we do a launch at the end to a question that they ask at the end, and I've noticed that each time it gets harder and harder.
Oh, that's funny. That's not intentional. So what Iris is talking about is that every week we have a little structure to our meetings, and I end with a launch, which kind of sets them off for the week, thinking about some sort of leadership topic. And so some of the topics have been choose a, how, let's see, I'm trying to think. One of them was community and identify the leaders. How do you know that they're leaders? What are they doing? Another launch was bring us a image or a quote that represents leadership to you. So we're doing a little bit of exploring what leadership is and how we can be better leaders in our communities in general. So Iris was saying that our launch is getting harder every week, and last week's launch was to come back with some ideas of what kinds of projects we might engage in at our school. Yeah, so Zach and Iris, I'm going to talk about the process a little bit really quick, but if there's anything you guys want to add, feel free to jump in here. So we are in the process of continuing to develop our team and create, well, we've developed the team, and I should say we are continuing to grow our team and create a team atmosphere. And we're collecting data. We're beginning to analyze that data, like Zach said, and look at, today we're gonna talk a little bit about what strengths our school has and maybe what weaknesses there are so that we can see where we can improve. From there, we'll develop and complete a school improvement project, and then we'll assess the effectiveness and we will report back to our community. So maybe by May, we can come back to morning coffee and give you a report about what we learned and what we did and how it went. Miss Bonertz, am I missing anything?
No, I think you nailed it hit the nail on the head. Is that right? Yeah, you nailed it.
All right, and Zach or Iris, is there anything else you guys wanted to add? Okay. Well, I just want to say that it's really fun to work with our student leaders. It is so fun to work with kids who are motivated to be up before 8 o'clock here on our morning coffee, participating in our community. And I'm just so happy to work with you guys. So thank you, kids, and thank you, everybody else. And Ms.
I echo that sentiment, Ms. Gatlin. It's so, Iris and Zach, we don't have students on morning coffee very often, and it's really awesome for us to have you two here on morning coffee with us. I'm really glad you joined and you were able to share some things, and I'd love to find a way to get students to come to morning coffee and present and share things more often. It's been great. Everything we do at STrEAM, everything I do, everything your teachers do, our board really is all for you. It's all for students. And so to see a couple of you take leadership roles and be able to come on morning coffee and share is just amazing. I'm really proud of you guys. You did a great job today.
Yeah, and I'm wondering if anyone has any questions they might want to ask our students, since we don't often have access to students on morning coffee. If there's anything that anybody's wondering that these guys might be able to answer for you. Just put them on the spot there.
I have a question for Iris or Zach. We hear a lot, and there's a lot of talk about how hard online learning and learning from home has been for students. And that's true. I understand that. I also, as your principal, I see the amazing hard work that our teachers and you, our students, are doing. What would you say to people who only have only know that there's hard things about online learning? What would you say about this last year of school that's been good, that's been effective, that's been awesome? What are some new things or just some really cool things about your online classes that you could share with us?
Something
Go ahead, Iris.
Okay. Something that I've learned through the pandemic is that you can't always look at the side that you think there is. You have to also look at the bright side of it. Like, I can share more ideas while the teacher's talking through the chat without interrupting them. And I can also do other things. So there's also more stuff I can do.
So thank you, Iris. So online learning really opens up a lot of options for you. You're not forced to do just one thing. You don't have to interrupt your teacher to share thoughts or ideas. You can put them right in the chat, and the teacher can get to those when they have time for that. And it allows you to multitask and work on different things. Those are some great points. I like that you said you've got to look at you look on the bright side. Thank you, Iris. Zach, what do you think?
I think mostly similar to Iris. A couple of other nice things is at your home, a lot of people feel a lot more comfortable at their home. I know it gets, I will admit, it gets a little bit boring after a while and after being stuck there for a while. But I think you have to, like Iris said, you have to look for the bright side of everything. Like, you get to, if you have pets, you get to stay home with pets, and you get to, like Iris said, you can get a lot of work done, and you can still chat with friends and stuff on your own time. And that's another cool thing. We were introduced to Zoom. Now I have Zooms with my friends all the time to stay in contact. So there is a bright side to it. I think a lot of students are just tired of having to, I don't know why. A lot of the students, I think, at home, they like sleep in. Because they're like, I'm at home, I don't really have to wake up and be in person in the building. And I think that's a lot of the reasons why a lot of kids don't get to class very early. But otherwise, I think online school it has challenges, yes, but there are a lot of nice things about it.
That's awesome, Zach. Thank you for the insight. So Zach says it's both a benefit and also maybe a hindrance to learn from home, because it's really nice to be home where you're comfortable, and it also can be a little too comfortable. But thanks, Zach. It's really cool to hear some insights from students on how it's working and some of the good things. That was awesome. I really appreciate that. Thank you, Miss Gatlin and Miss Bonerts. Thank you, Zach and Iris. You did a great job. We need to figure out how to get students on morning coffee more often. Definitely. You two can come back to morning coffee anytime you want and just tell us what's going on. Okay. I'm going to turn it over to Mrs. Beyondich next to do a quick update that we would like to do each week from our nonprofit. STrEAM has a nonprofit arm that it supports the school and has its own mission and its own board, separate board from our APC. And they have done some amazing work fundraising to support STrEAM. Mrs. Beyondich, tell us what's happening with STrEAM Anchorage.
Thank you. STrEAM Anchorage has been meeting regularly. As the fundraising arm of Anchorage STREAM Academy, we have set up some easy ways for our stakeholders, our community, to help raise funds for Anchorage STREAM Academy. One of the easiest ways is Amazon Smile. So if you just add under your charity on Amazon, Amazon Smile, you add Anchorage STREAM Academy or STREAM Anchorage. I think it's actually STREAM Anchorage on the Smile. Then part of your donation, part of your purchases go directly to our school as a donation. The local Fred Meyer Community Rewards Program is also in effect now. So you can put every time you swipe your Fred Meyer Rewards card, if you add us as your charity, we'll get a percentage of that as well. And those are two very easy ways. Another easy and tasty way to donate will be on Pita Pit Sunday. Pita Pit, the local Pita Pit, there's 3 of them in Anchorage, spread across the town, one on East Side, one at Midtown, and one on South Side, is participating in Giving Sundays, Pitas for a Purpose. And they have selected STREAM Anchorage as one of the ways that you can donate. On March 28th, every purchase that's made at Pita Pit, we will get a percentage of their sales directly to STREAM Anchorage. If you want to find out more about what your nonprofit is doing to help the school, we invite you to Zoom in to our next work session, which is on February 18th at 5 o'clock. And if you call me at the school, I can give you the link information. So February 18th at 5 o'clock. If you want to know more, or if you're a good fundraiser, we would love to have you. Just call the school and I'll get you that information.
Awesome. Thank you, Ms. Bjondich. The 501c3 has really taken off this year, and thanks to a lot of hard work from those who are on the board. I know you're on the board and working really hard on the 501c3. Jen Mickelson, who's on our APC, is also on the 501c3 board. Is there anyone else we should mention?
Gail Yip, who's with us in coffee also, she's also on the 501c3, and Whitney Diotri, who is the chairman of the 501c3. She helped get us going this year. She's looking to be replaced as the chairman. So if you're interested in leading our 501c3, please do give me a call.
And Melissa Reed joined us this morning. And isn't Melissa on the board?
Yeah, Melissa is too. She's one of our very important fundraising chairpersons. She's helping us with our cross-country ski fundraiser that now is extended through March. We're attempting to raise $10,000, and we are a little more than a quarter of the way. So we still have quite a ways to go in order to have enough money to purchase cross-country ski gear for our team.
Awesome, thank you. The next thing on our agenda, also something that Mrs. Bjondich is very involved in. She wrote the grant and got us the grant from Operation Warm. We have been putting warm coats, winter coats, on the backs of our children, our students, all year long. It's been especially nice with learning labs and having students come to the building. We've been able to get a coat to them if they need a coat. And Mr. Mosen and I think was it Monday, Mr. Mosen? One day this week, Mr. Mosen and I took students outside for break for learning labs, and it was 8 below zero. And we gave them the option, do you guys want to go? Because we walk the park every day with learning lab students. Do you want to go for a walk in the park, or should we just stay close to the building and get some fresh air and go back in? And I honestly thought students were going to go, no, yeah, it's too cold. Every single one of the students at Learning Lab that day said, yeah, let's go for a walk. So Mr. Mosen and I and a group of students, and you might have seen the pictures on social media, we went and walked a 15, 20-minute loop in Muldoon Park in almost 10 below zero, which is pretty awesome. And I got to admit, Coach Mosen's pretty inspiring, not just for students, but for staff also. Like when Coach Mosen's enthusiasm tends to sway those things. I think if it had just been me and I was like, hey, do you guys want to go for a walk, or it's kind of cold, we probably would have stayed. But Mr. Mosen's like, hey, let's go for a walk in the park. It's awesome. And so we all follow Coach Mosen's enthusiasm. Thanks, Coach.
We heard back from Operation Warm and their local partner Money Mart earlier this week after we posted those pictures to social media and shared them with Operation Warm. And they were super excited to see pictures in front of that sign that said -7 degrees, and they're going to use that in their advertising.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you, Mrs. Beyondich. And thank you, Coach Mosen, for always being awesome. I appreciate Operation Warm. It's been really cool to be able to hand a warm coat to a student when they need one. And it's pretty awesome. Thank you. And thanks for doing that. All right. Up next, one of the big highlights of Morning Coffee every week is we bring on a different cohort pair almost every week. And it actually works out to where each cohort presents once per quarter. And that's almost every week we have them on, and it fits nicely. This week we have our 6th grade language arts and social studies dynamic duo, 2 of the most amazing and creative and innovative and just awesome teachers you could ever hope to have. And I mean that. I wish that when I was in middle school, I had these 2, because I would have loved their classes. I have a bachelor's degree in English. That was the first thing I chased in college. And I love literature. And I would have loved to have a language arts teacher like Miss Kotelman. And Miss Gable has got such an amazing style and a creative, innovative approach. She and I share a passion for gaming and gamification of education. It's a whole topic. Maybe it'll be my PhD topic, how to gamify learning and education and bring games and game theory and gaming into learning, because gaming is, everyone loves to play games, and is something about the human brain that's wired that way. So Miss Gable does this really cool gamification stuff with her classes. So I could go on and on and on about these 2, but I need to stop and just let them talk. So Miss Kotelman and Miss Gable, tell us about the awesome stuff happening in your world.
Thank you so much, Mr. McKelkey. Yeah, so just getting right into it, what we're doing this quarter is definitely under that title of gamification. So we are learning about ancient civilizations and what features make up a civilization. So our first week, we started by learning about those 8 features. And then every week after, I am introducing, I call them little tasters of civilizations that have been throughout history, because we just cover those 8 features. And while we're doing that, students are creating their own civilization. So they're tackling a feature each week in depth and coming up with what their own civilization does. So 8 features, they have advanced cities, division of labor, organized governments, shared culture, and all of those different types of aspects that they're covering. And at the end, so we only have 2 features left, we are going to use what they've created and play a D&D risk style game with those civilizations that they've created. So it will be a lot of fun. It's a lot of work. They're putting so much effort into it. It's almost turning into like a mini Game of Thrones with all the different conspiracies and intricacies that are going on. And I'm sure Iris would be happy to talk about some of that, since we have one of my students here that is doing just an awesome job with creating her civilization. Sorry to put you on the spot there, Iris. But yeah, that's what we're doing in social studies, and it's really cool, and it's so awesome to see all the creativity coming out of the students.
I don't interrupt your presentations, but Miss Gable, that is so cool. I really do wish I had you for social studies in middle school. I loved gaming, and the fact that you're taking the social studies standards and content, and instead of doing the dry, that sometimes boring work of social studies, they're creating their own civilizations is just phenomenal. It's so awesome. I just can't tell you enough how much I appreciate that.
Yeah, no worries about interrupting. Actually, I was done. I'm gonna let Miss Coleman go.
Okay, so I have a new hat, and I'm very excited to share because it is the ultimate language arts hat. Fight evil, read books. Okay, so here we go. So in language arts, we fight evil and read books, and now I'm done. Just kidding. So here we go. Slideshow, because that's how I organize my thoughts. So ELA quarter 3, we're doing an analysis party, essentially. We're playing around with all kinds of different types of analysis so students can flex these skills in other areas of their lives. And we're going to talk a little bit about this as well in class. So 2 essential questions that we're working with in language arts this quarter are: how can changes between books and movie adaptations alter our experience of a story? We did a whole project on that. And then how do we use evidence and reasoning to support our arguments and claims? So we launched that on Monday. So film and literature, we use the short story All Summer in a Day by Ray Bradbury. And the kids handled it really well. It's a depressing story. It's not a very happy one, but what it does is it shows very strong themes. And the movie is an adaptation, again, kind of old, but it also shows very strong themes. And there's a very important difference: the ending. The ending is changed from being depressing to uplifting. And so the kids and I and with each other got to talk a little bit about what's the effect of that. Because the language of film and the language of text have different tools at their disposal. And so we also got to do a little bit of activities where we sort of tampered our expectations out of books turned into movies. Because I know I'm like most people, I'm never judge a book by its movie, but because they always disappoint me. If I were queen of the world, movies made out of like books would not be allowed, miniseries only. Anyway, so I asked kids before we started, why should we learn theme in school? Like, this is a big deal in STrEAM, is to make what we're learning relevant. So most of these kids are not going to be literature majors. Most of these kids are, maybe they won't go in to be a language arts teacher, but then again, why would they need to be a language arts teacher to just perpetuate that cycle of learning theme for no reason? So we studied and discussed, why do we need to know how to do theme? Here are some of their answers. When we read stories, being able to find the theme, especially if it is implied, is important because otherwise reading is pointless. If you can't understand the book or take something away from it, then why bother to read? Theme is also important in our everyday lives. Usually people will hint at something instead of outright saying it. So you have to find the theme and draw conclusions. Finding the theme of something can be challenging, but it gets easier if you know what to look for. So this student is understanding how to connect theme and stories to looking for deeper meaning and analyzing for deeper meaning in other areas. Here's another student answer. Theme is important because I think it helps you understand the storyline better. I think we should learn about it because understanding theme, you wouldn't understand the point of whatever you're watching or reading. It's important to understand what's happening and why it matters. I told the kids, if you're reading a story and you see a theme that seems sketchy, maybe it's a theme or a message of a story that you disagree with, if you understand it, you can critique it a little bit more informed. And then this is another fun one. It actually opened a discussion in class too. It's important to learn this in school because when you're reading a book and you can't quite understand the theme, it's a lot harder to understand. It's also good to learn in school because you need to be good at it to be good at some jobs. And there was a lot of discussion from kids about like, you need it to get a good job. And that kind of made me laugh a little bit because I was just imagining an interview where they hand somebody a story and say, identify the theme in the story. That wouldn't happen. But we did get to talk about, well, maybe it's not literal. Maybe you learning how to do theme isn't necessarily going to help you because you'll identify theme at your job. But if you can analyze and you can think like this, then you can apply that thinking to other areas of your life. So we had a final product where we had a prompt and they had to create either a graphic essay or a video. And we had a level of difficulties with the prompt. So mild, medium, and spicy is kind of the way we do it. So the mild prompt was where I gave them both themes of the movie and the book, and they had to determine evidence that supports it, identify a major difference. And then in the medium one, I give them one theme. In the spicy one, they get to come up with their own entirely. So there's some differentiation built in there too. Students who struggled with identifying theme were still able to work with it and to still practice providing evidence and see how the story builds theme through events and details in the story. So I have some student examples here to share. So we have actually, Iris, now that you're here, one of the graphic essays was this ability to organize their thoughts in a way that looked way more interesting than just a typed up paper. So they got to add graphics and images that work together and explain their thinking in here. The biggest change between these films that affects the theme is that Margot was really shy, but in the film, Margot stood up for herself more. That's one of the main characters. So they get to play around with how to present information in a way that's a little bit more fun to look at than just an essay. So I got a couple more arrows and pictures and highlights to help us. And it's just been a joy. I haven't got a chance to look at many videos yet, but I hope to see some as I look through my mastery grading pile for today. So up next, we have argumentative writing. So we're shifting from sort of a literary analysis to a more of a informational text analysis. We're looking at how authors structure their arguments so we can copy the good moves that they use and avoid the sketchy ones. So since we launched on Monday, we've just been doing argumentative writing for Monday and Tuesday. Kids have already done so much work with argument. On Monday, we had a chance to explore how one person structures their argument around, let's see, what do we do on about school punishment, right? So the kids got a chance to think about, should we use suspensions? Should we use detentions? Does it actually help kids? And then yesterday they had a chance to do an impromptu debate where I put a statement on the slideshow and the kids got a chance to argue either side. And before they stated their opinions, they had to summarize the previous person's point. And the topic was, the things we learn in school matter in real life. And I was shocked at how many of them were ready to stand up for it. So, and to be really excited about what they learned in school. And I think that has something to say with STrEAM making an effort to make everything we do relevant. And on Thursday, we are going to have that philosophical chairs debate again, but it's going to be less informal. I gave them a couple of articles and they have to use evidence to support their opinions on Thursday. And the resolution is schools should stop giving grades and should give only feedback instead. And so I'm excited to see how it goes. And it's kind of gamified as well. The idea is to try to get people from the other side to come to your side and to use evidence and to make sure you're listening carefully. Okay. So that's language arts. Miss Gable and I also teach a third period enrichment class called Tech Apps. That's what we're doing, is we're teaching kids how to become experts in their technology applications that they use. They've been using these for a while, but it surprised us to know that a lot of kids didn't have really great command of the applications. They just kind of fumbled around and guessed, and it kind of stressed them out a little bit. So we are going through the Google Suite. We are teaching them slides. We're teaching them Drive. We are teaching them Docs, and we are also letting them play around with video editing. So there's just so many things that I could show you. The video editing is one thing, and we'll definitely share some of our video editing someday. But I want to show you one of the things that we showed them how to do. This right here is how to add and manipulate images in Google Slides. So a lot of things that we learned about involved finding the right images, but also making sure that you find good images for your slideshow. So right here, I say, ew, this image has a watermark on it and it looks a bit unprofessional. Delete it, add a new image that relates to the content, add a mask on it to give it an oval shape. Here's another example of something they needed to manipulate in the slides. There's an image behind the cloudy image. It would look best if it were on top. Arrange the layers so the cloud picture is behind the assembly line picture. Make sure their centers are aligned. So they have to select both images, arrange, or let's see, they have to click on the cloudy image, arrange, order, send to back. They have to select both images, arrange, align, center, arrange, align, middle, and that's it. So they have to learn how to actually utilize all of the menus and tools, and we demonstrate quickly in class. We demonstrate so fast because we don't want to overwhelm them with all the information at once. We just show them once. And then this class is, yes, about training them to use this stuff, but also training them to be Google experts. If you don't know how to do something in slides, look it up. We showed you once. Now, try to see if you can find it on your own. I'm happy to tell you, but the skill that's going to make you more confident in your technology use is being able to find the answer if you're stuck. So it may seem like we're letting kids kind of doggy paddle in the deep end, but we're hoping to provide them with a productive struggle that can help them gain these skills. So it's really exciting. The kids are, some of the kids are really good with the slides and they're like, I'm already an expert, but every kid who is really good at slides is learning a new technique. They're learning a new pathway. And not only that, they're able to help their peers. And it's wonderful. Ms. Gable, I saw you like talking for a second if you want to add something.
Oh yeah, we have student helpers that they feel like they're experts, and so we'll create breakout rooms and students can help each other out, walk through that process. So they get to put on that teacher hat a little bit too, which is very cool.
And it's so fun to watch because I feel like a lot of kids, maybe it's the elementary school they went to or what, some of these kids are really great helpers. I've seen kids help each other where they just give them the answer. But I have watched other kids here help each other where they ask prompting questions and they push each other to actually try it and figure it out without just giving each other the answer, which is just warms my heart. It's so great. So yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, Ms. Kotelman and Ms. Gable. Thank you both so much. I saw a lot of comments in the chat echoing what I said at the top of your presentation, which we wish we were in your class. We wish we had that class, and we love those ideas. And so it's more affirmation that you two are incredible and you're doing an incredible job with sixth grade language arts and social studies and enrichment. Thank you so much for that great presentation and for all that you ladies do. Are there any questions for Ms. Kotelman and Ms. Gable before I move on? If they're in the chat, let me know. I don't have the chat up. Managing too many screens.
There's in the chat, a lot of thank yous in the chat.
Yeah, I just want to say that as a staff member at STrEAM, we get the benefit of Kotelman and Gable and their tech savvy. I mean, I never thought I'd be doing the technology I do, and thanks to them, I am. So, thanks, you guys.
That's a great point, Mr. Mosen. Ms. Kotelman talked about how our students help each other so much and what an incredible culture that creates. Our staff model that, especially I think since we've been, forced to move to online and virtual teaching. I've seen our staff collaborate and help and support each other so much in so many ways. And it's really a part of our movement away from training and professional development from outside our organization. And Ms. Gatlin and I really focus on building and empowering training and support and professional development within our organization. We find our teachers learn best from each other, and that the best professional development is when they teach each other and support each other. And we have experts in so many different areas and fields on our staff. One day, Coach Mosen's the expert, and he's got us outdoors and teaching us, skiing and all kinds of, how to be active and do great things outside and passing on his knowledge and experience as a coach. And the next day, Coach Mosen has Ms. Kotelman in his room helping him with the technology and structuring language arts lessons. And so that culture permeates our staff, and it's really powerful. Thank you. Awesome. If there are more questions, we can bounce back to them, but we'll keep moving here on Morning Coffee. I do want to make sure everyone understands the lottery is open. Returning students don't have to apply. Every year we have this little, couple families that put their students in the lottery, even though they're already at STrEAM. It doesn't hurt anything. You can't break it, but you don't have to apply. You have a seat, you keep a seat. So this is for new students, mostly sixth graders. We'll take about 60 new sixth graders again. My guess is at the most we'll take 10 seventh graders. We can have up to 60 seventh graders. And so, if all of our sixth graders returned, we wouldn't have very many seats or if any, but generally people move, families make some changes. And then traditionally we have the least amount of seats for eighth graders. It's the most competitive for eighth graders because we tend to not not take a lot of students who are coming for 1 year, but we do take a few every year, and we always have a few 8th graders who are just a great fit. I need all of your help. The number one way we recruit new students and we get new students at STrEAM is word of mouth. We've tried a lot, and we still do a lot of advertising, and we try to share about STrEAM in a lot of ways, and we won't stop doing that. But we find over and over and over, the number one way new families come to us is they've heard from one of you. They've heard from a parent of a STrEAM student. They've heard from teachers and people who work in the school district, people in their office building. I've heard that, like, I work with so-and-so and their kids at STrEAM and they love STrEAM and they always talk about this school. And so I thought I'd check you out. You all talking about STrEAM Academy and sharing things about STrEAM and telling people about STrEAM is the number one way that we get new students. So please continue to just share the good word about STrEAM. Talk to people, who have kids who, you think it might be a good fit for them, and have them go online and apply in the lottery. Lottery closes on March 18th. And we then have a window of time to do some adjusting. We balance for a couple of factors. We try to gender balance and keep a fairly close ratio of boys and girls. And we also have 2 preferences you can get in the lottery. If you live in East Anchorage, if you're zoned for Clark or Begich, you get an East Anchorage neighborhood preference. It bumps you up the list. That's in our charter. That's part of our mission and vision that we serve the East Anchorage community, because it doesn't have as many options sometimes as other parts of the city. And so that's close to our heart. And the other preference that you get is a sibling preference. If you have a sibling at STrEAM, you're going to be able to come to STrEAM. That's almost a guarantee. I can't imagine turning away a sibling. So any questions at all, don't hesitate to call the school, call Mrs. Bionich or I, email Mrs. Bionich or I. We will help you with this. If anyone has got a passion to help do some recruiting, let us know. We'll hook you up with a packet of flyers. We're sending them out to elementary schools now. We'll get you posters you can hang up if you want to hang a poster somewhere. We have some really nice posters for STrEAM. Mrs. Bionich has some electronic flyers you can share. Do you want to add anything to that, Ms. Bionich?
Yeah, we're also looking for 1, 2, 3, 4 sentence quotes from all of our stakeholders to add to our advertising. So if you have a strong feeling that you can put down in a couple of sentences that we can use in our advertising, we would love to have you email or call me and dictate to me so that we can use those in our advertising.
Yes, thank you for mentioning that. Capturing testimonials. We hear a lot from people who share great testimonials. They love our school and this is why. So we're trying to capture some of those, and if you give us permission to share them, so we can put that out and people can see what parents and community members say about STrEAM. Thank you. I'm going to turn it over to Miss Bonertz, our counselor. Good morning, Miss Bonertz. How you doing?
Good morning. I'm doing well, thank you. Couple of updates really quickly. First of all, 8th grade parents, some charter schools are already having their open houses. I believe Highland had theirs yesterday, and Stellar will be having theirs the 17th and the 18th. Most high schools haven't nailed down dates, but most of theirs are at the end of February and March. So 8th grade parents, be on the lookout for that if you are in search mode of trying to find a perfect high school for your student. The next thing is right at the very tippity top of 4th quarter, our students are going to be taking our annual school climate connectedness survey. And that survey is something that we do every single year. And actually our youth leadership lab team is using the data from last year to help them with our project this year, because we feel like last year's data has a little bit more meat on it because we were actually all in school, and it'll be a little bit more applicable. And this data actually won't come out until May anyways. But some of the things we're going to be looking at are, school safety and social emotional learning and student involvement, community involvement, respectful climate, peer climate, high expectations, things like that. So those are some of the things that the students will be ranking our school, and, we'll see how we fare, but that will happen right at the tippity top of fourth quarter. So just be on the lookout for that for your students. That's all.
Awesome. Thank you, Ms. Bonertz. I want to take this opportunity to say that it is National School Counselors Week. And we have an incredible school counselor in Ms. Bonertz. So please join me in saying thank you, Ms. Bonertz. We appreciate you so much. We're so lucky to have such an amazing counselor. And thanks for all the work you do. And we appreciate you.
Thank you, Ms. Bonertz.
You're welcome. You're welcome, First Sergeant Watts.
Thanks. All right, Mr. Mosen, are you with us still? Did we lose Mosen? That's okay. He's got stuff to do. He's busy. Mr. Mosen was with us.
No, I'm here. Go ahead.
He's here. I'm sorry. Mr. Mosen is with us. We have ski club happening, and it's been incredible. Mr. Mosen and Mr. Perkins have had a great group of students out skiing in our local ski areas and parks. I understand today, Mr. Mosen, you're meeting at Campbell Airstrip. Is that true?
Yeah, and if you typed in Campbell Airstrip Trailhead into your device, it will pin it. That's the official name too. So for people that do that thing.
Awesome. All right, Coach. Thank you.
And I sent that out. Yeah, 3 o'clock, 3 to 4:15.
Mr. Mosen, Coach Mosen needs an extra pandemic teaching medal. When we give pandemic teaching awards, we're going to give one to Coach Mosen because he's been in education a while, like me, and some of the technology that we use is not as familiar to Coach as it is to some of us. And there's two ways you could approach that. And I know there are people out there, not at our school, who have gone like, I can't do all this. This is too much. And it's, and Coach has been, with his attitude that he brings to everything, he's been like, hey, I'm ready to learn this. Who's going to teach me this? How do I do this? Help me out. I'm going to do it. I'm going to make it happen. And he has, and he's Zooming every day with students, and he's got Remind going, and he's got all the, he's got Kahoots playing on his Zoom class for quizzes. And, he's totally embraced this. And also that culture of coaching that we work really hard to build, right? That everyone needs a coach, including, the principal, everybody. We all need to coach and support each other. Mr. Mosen embraces that as a coach. And also he's coachable. He has zero compunction about asking Miss Kodelman or another teacher to come and help him and show him how to do something. So you get one of the pandemic medals when we hand those out, Coach.
Yeah, hopefully. Anyway, I have one of the things about being virtual is my wife's in the background, and you were cracking her up.
That's good. Good morning, Elizabeth. I'm glad we could entertain you a little bit today. All right. We'd like to do a little spotlight each on Morning Coffee on what some of the books that we're reading. We've highlighted books. One of the cool things about Morning Coffee is we brought authors on throughout Morning Coffee, different authors. And we have a standing invitation for Dante Medema. And she has agreed at some point she wants to come on Morning Coffee. She's a local author, an Anchorage author, and she has a young adult youth fiction, good 7th, 8th grade level book called The Truth Project. And we're featuring it partly because we're a middle school and it's young adult fiction, and partly because she's a local author. She's an Anchorage author, Alaskan author. That's really cool. So Mrs. Bionich has read the book. Miss Kodelman's read it. I think Miss Smith has it. Miss Yip has read it. So anything Kodelman or anybody want to share like just a quick insight into how cool this book? Miss Kodelman, tell us about what you think about Truth Project.
It's a very quick read. It looks intimidating. It looks big, but it's written in verse, and because I think that the fact that it's written in verse actually works with the story really well because it is about poetry. And I couldn't think of another way for this character to explain her feelings and her experiences other than in verse, because poetry is such a big deal to her. So if you like poetry, then it's a great story. It does have some mature themes, though. I think mature 7th or 8th graders could handle it. Mm-hmm. So really Awesome. Great story.
First Sergeant Watts is with us this morning. He's coming on Morning Coffee later on, I think late February, early March, and as part of our pitch to with Miss Bonertz to 8th grade students and 8th grade families about what your options are, what cool things are out there in the district when you leave 8th grade. Excited. Go ahead, Sir Sergeant Watts. We're excited to have you come on later on Morning Coffee.
Yep. Yeah. Outstanding. Yes. Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity. Myself and from my boss, Major Erskine, the program head at JROTC at East. Of course, I'll be pitching for hours, but it's a solid program. And so anywhere the kids go in the district, junior ROTC exists at all the high schools that ASD has. So yeah, I look forward to that on the 3rd. Myself and Robbie Everett will be on to answer questions. We'll share some information. Now that we're better at Zoom, my video will have some sound. Yeah, so we're pretty stoked. We're trying to make rounds throughout the district. So my boss is working hard with other feeder middle schools as well. So in this challenging time, we're gonna take advantage of technology and make this happen.
Awesome, thank you. We're looking forward to that for Sergeant Watts, and you have been a great supporter of STrEAM. We really appreciate that. March 3rd is when we will have that get ready for high school. So 8th grade families, 8th grade parents, have your antenna up for March 3rd. You're going to want to attend, and Ms. Bonertz will help open up a lot of doors for programs that are out there in the district. We are coming up close on the 9 o'clock hour. Time for good of the order and final words and questions. Of course, thank you once again to everyone who came on, everyone who joined us. We had 6 people watching on YouTube. Thank you, YouTube audience. We love having people jump on and watch. And of course, this is recorded on the YouTube channel, so you can always go back and watch later. And I know people do that. Thanks to all the parents that joined us. Thank you so much, Iris and Zach, for joining us. It was so awesome. Mrs. Bionich, we have to figure out how to get students on Morning Coffee, because it was just such, I can't tell you enough how much it just kind of made our day and brightened up what we do to have some students on here. Ms. Kotelman and Ms. Gable, thank you. You guys are awesome. We really appreciate the presentation. Final words, good to the order, Mrs. Bionich. What do we need to close with?
I'm just super excited that we had students with us. I said it at the beginning of the hour. I'll say it at the end of the hour. They are why we do our job. And to have them come on and share their experience with us makes my job so fulfilling. So thank you to the students.
I think that's a great way to end. Thank you for our students. You are why we do this. And with that, we'll say goodbye. Have a great day, everybody.